Thank you, everyone. Welcome. I'm Rick Perkins, the Conservative candidate in South Shore St. Margaret's and the Member of Parliament for that riding since 2021. And I'm pleased to be here in the hiring hall for the International Longshoremen's Association. And I might indulge everyone a little bit here. The port is a vital piece of infrastructure for our province, Atlantic Canada, and the country. It contributes billions of dollars in GDP. For our province, employs over 15,000 people as a result of all the work here. And everything that is done here is critical in this province, flows through this port and the amazing workers that we have in the Longshoremen Association. And I'd like to just tell a little story. I was a newly elected MP in 2021, and I was home on a Sunday night, and my phone started to buzz at about 10 o'clock at night in 2022. And I'm looking at it, and there's all these messages from some of the guys here, the longshoremen, about a change that the Liberal government had just made, a change that the Labour Minister then, Seamus O'Regan, had made that would have meant less hours and less pay for the workers here. And so I phoned Kevin Piper, the head of the union. He's been the head for 14 years, I believe, the elected head. And I said, "What the heck's going on, Piper?" He explained it to me, and we quickly arranged a meeting. And our then Labour critic, Scott Aitchison, and Member of Parliament, and Melissa Lanceman, who was our transport critic then, came down here. And we had a meeting in this hall with the representatives of the employees to talk about what was going on and how the changes the Liberal government was going to harm the ability of folks who work here and do so much work here to make a living. Many of them that live in my riding, as far away as Western Shore, Hubbards, they also live in downtown Halifax, and they live in the ridings of Dave Carroll, our candidate in Sackville, Bedford, Preston. Rob Batherson, our candidate in Halifax West. Isabel Obeid, our candidate in Dartmouth Cold Harbour. And my also longtime friend, Mark Boudreau, our candidate in Halifax. So my duty here is to introduce, while I'm introducing, I've got two friends here, the next Prime Minister of Canada, but also Kevin Piper. Like I said, he's the president, and he's a great guy. And in addition to being a great guy, he's a pretty good fisherman, too. He's a pretty good fisherman. There you go, Kevin.
Hi, thank you for coming this afternoon. I'll introduce myself. I'm Kevin Piper. I'm the president of the International Longshoremen's Association, Local 269. And if I may take a moment, I'll kind of explain to you how we've got to this point in time of recommending the federal Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre as the next Prime Minister of Canada. As Rick Perkins has alluded to, the federal government changed our hours of work regulations back in 2022, and Rick has been an invaluable asset and ally for our local here in Halifax. He's fought diligently for us when we wouldn't get a phone call from our Liberal MPs. They wouldn't return our phone calls. Rick brought down the Shadow Minister of Labour, the Shadow Minister of Transport. We strategized how to make the regulations work so that it wouldn't affect our customers and our ability to supply labor. Then going forward last year, we ran into a situation that the cruise vessels were bringing in illegal foreign workers, crew members, to do work that was traditionally longshoring work in Halifax. And we reached out to Rick again, and he assembled a team, and within a matter of days, they had letters sent off to the president of CBSA and Immigration Canada protesting that what was going on in here was longshoring work. It wasn't foreign crew members' work, and that I'm happy to announce it looks like that has been resolved going forward into the 2025 season. So I just want to thank Rick. He's definitely an invaluable asset in the Port of Halifax when other people wouldn't return our phone calls, traditionally Labour parties who wouldn't return our phone calls, and Rick has fought diligently for us. So St. Margaret's Bay, South Shore are very lucky to have him running again as the incumbent down there. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the special guest of honor, our next Prime Minister, Pierre Poilievre.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everybody. Great to see you, and thank you very much, Mr. Piper, and most importantly to your incredible members, the great longshoremen. Well, I'm going to spin this around. I'm going to get away from the stand here and walk around a little bit and thank the incredible longshoremen who make it possible for us to have the essential products of our lives and our jobs. It literally would not be possible to function in a modern civilization without the work that they do. You walk around your house for a moment and just look at all the products that you rely on for your very survival. I bet a bunch of them would vanish into thin air if we didn't have longshoremen getting the goods in, and many of our paychecks would vanish as well because we wouldn't be able to get the goods out. So you really are the backbone of our country. We respect you, we honor you, and we are going to deliver a real change that benefits the longshoremen across this country. Thank you for that wonderful endorsement for change. Change is the issue in this election. Change is what we need now more than ever. Change so that you can afford food and housing. Change so that you're safe on your streets. Change so that Canada is strong enough to stand on its own 2 feet. You know, this has been a very, very ugly 10 years for the working people of our country. You know, 10 years ago, on a decent union wage, you could afford a really nice house in Halifax. And a young person could rent a great apartment and have savings every month built up for a down payment on a home. It was possible to start a family in your 20s and do that with a yard and a parking space and a safe neighborhood close to a park. And you didn't have to worry if you walked outside that you'd face a criminal, or that if you went to bed at night that your car might not be there when you woke up in the morning. But after this lost Liberal decade, everything costs more. Housing costs have more than doubled. In fact, housing inflation has been worse in Halifax than almost any other city in Canada. We have increased crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder in our streets. And we found out on Saturday that not only does Mark Carney want to continue on with all of the policies of Justin Trudeau, he wants to go even further, adding $130 billion of additional deficit spending above and beyond what Justin Trudeau had already budgeted. Together, the Trudeau plans and the Carney promises would add $250 billion of inflationary debt, driving up your food, housing, and other costs even more than they already were. He wants to keep all the same catch and release laws to turn criminals loose in our streets and allow drugs to threaten our children. We cannot afford a fourth Liberal term. We cannot risk a fourth Liberal term. It's time for a change with a new Conservative government that will fight for workers, cut taxes, cap spending, and allow Canadians who work hard to have a great life in an affordable home. That's what we need now more than ever. But more important than that, here in this hall, we need to ensure that the government will support the longshoremen at the Port of Halifax with federal regulations on hours of work that line up with what you've said here today. These regulations need to protect our workers across the country at every port, but we also need these rules to be in place to ensure that our workers have a good quality of life, good wages, fair compensation, and the efficient flow of our goods and services in and out of the country. We will also designate ports as the federal lead for all environmental matters so that we can rapidly improve and build upon our existing ports. Right now, it takes forever to get the permitting done to do a port expansion or improvement because there's so many layers of bureaucracy. We'll put the port in charge of that in partnership with our unions. We're also going to let our ports have increased borrowing limits so that when they need the capital to do expansions and improvements, they can do that as well. We're going to unlock the potential, the economic potential of Port Cobourn and the Welland Canal. We're going to be making some improvements to that. And we're going to open up the Port of Churchill so we can have an Arctic gateway that will get our goods to the world through Hudson's Bay and through the Arctic waters, which are going to be increasingly cleared because we are going to buy and build 4 massive icebreakers. And I think that you know something about making ships in this part of the world here. And I drove past Irving on the way here. So it's going to be a very bright future. We released our platform, I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it's hard to keep track of what the days now. But we released our platform. It's called Change. Change for affordable homes and food, change for safe streets. It means a 15% income tax cut so that your hard work actually pays off and you bring home more of each dollar you earn. We're going to axe the federal sales tax on homes and incentivize municipalities to cut their charges to bring down taxes by $100,000 per home. We're going to lock up the criminals with mandatory jail time to keep our streets safe again, ban the drugs, invest in treatment, and support our police so that we have safety and tranquility. We're going to unlock our resources, repealing the anti-energy laws that Liberals have put in place that stand in our way. We need to develop our oil and gas, our mines, our pipelines, build big projects that will generate enormous economic activity. That means more paychecks for our workers, more growth for our people, and a country that instead of just creating more cash with monster deficits, we're going to create more of the stuff cash buys, grow more food, build more homes, and produce more Canadian resources. That is how we're going to give people back the Canadian promise. And Kevin, I think you'll agree, we had a promise in this country. You know a lot about contracts and deals because you have to negotiate a collective agreement. And your collective agreements, as I understand, I've never actually negotiated one myself, but I understand it's a very simple concept. You agree to do this work, in exchange you get this compensation. Well, we had a collective agreement in Canada. It was a very simple deal. You work hard, you get a beautiful house with good food on a safe street under a proud flag. Very simple deal. Well, you've kept up your end of the deal, but our government has broken the deal on their end. We need a government that's going to bring back that deal, that promise, that hard work gets you a great life, a beautiful house, a safe street, under a proud flag. Canada first, for a change. Let's bring it home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pierre, for coming, and thank you very much, Kevin and the ILA for the endorsement, and thank you, candidates and everyone else that's come to today's very important event for our city, our port, and our province. Let's hear it once more for the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre. We will have a photo line here. Pierre will be here if you want to have individual photos with him, if you want to sort of line up here, and we'll start that. Thank you. Group photo. Oh, sorry, group photo first.